Hello every single person in the entire world that is watching this video. Welcome to the end of 2021 Q&A response. I know we're already a few days into 2022, but since the Q&A was taken last year, technically this is the last video of 2021. So anyway, as per usual, we've got a lot of questions to get through, so let's go ahead and jump right in. What was my favorite rail fanning moment of this year? Probably either seeing the Union Pacific Big Boy or honestly seeing Nickel Plate Road 765. What is one underrated railroad museum or tourist railroad that I think people should check out? I'll go ahead and name two. The Everett Railroad in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, and the Hocking Valley Scenic Railroad in Ohio. If I were able to repeat any of the railfan trips I took this year, which one would I want to do? Probably repeat the UP Big Boy chase because of our issues in Texas, but, honestly, I think 2021 is great as it is, and the past is the past. Looking ahead to 2022, what or where do you want to railfan the most in 2022? I really want to go out to Colorado, but then again, plans are not certain. But we'll just see. How much do I want to bet that Handy Dandy number 9 won't be back for the Threshers reunion next year? Lol. Probably about 99.9% sure it ain't going to be back. But if they want to surprise me, go ahead. What are my thoughts on the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad officially retiring 734? Honestly, right now we have 1309, so I'm not too sad about it, but it'll probably come back eventually because 1309 won't last forever, but honestly, it needs a rest. Have I ever visited the Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri to catch video of the Frisco Silver Dollar line? No, but I have seen many videos on it, and if I ever do take a trip to Missouri, we'll probably stop by. Do I think Union Pacific should at least give now retired 3985 a cosmetic restoration? I think honestly they just need to give it to some museum that'll enjoy it a little bit better. But honestly, I really don't care what happens to it because we have the Big Boy. Of the operating steamers of the Strasburg Railroad, which do I prefer? I mean, it's got to be the 90, man. It was my childhood, and it's just honestly the better engine in my opinion. Do I think PRR 1361 will ever do a double header with PRR 5550? Depends on when 1, 1361 gets restored, and 2, if the project for 5550 is complete within 1361's flue time, if it ever does get restored. But honestly, that's pretty far-fetched. Is it worth seeing a standard gauge steamy? Yes, definitely. What's my favorite whistle 190 has worn? Probably the 5 chime. If I could only railfan one place for the rest of your life, where would it be? That's actually a tough one. And actually a really good question. If you're talking class 1s, probably Horseshoe Curve or even Fostoria, Ohio. But if you're talking tourist lines, what is my favorite class 1 hotspot in the U.S.? Either Horseshoe Curve or Fostoria Iron Triangle. What are my thoughts on British steam locomotives? They're pretty cool, but they've got the worst whistles ever. Honestly, the S160s out there are probably the best steamers out there if I had to put the finger on. Again, no offense to the British steam guys out there, but I'm an American, so I like my stuff better. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but y'all got great engines. Flying Scotsman is definitely a beauty. If I were to bring back a fallen flag railroad that no longer exists, what would it be? Probably either the Southern Railroad or the Clinchfield. What is my favorite tourist railroads in the eastern United States? Oh boy, I'm going to have to write down a complete list for all of these. Reading and Northern, whenever they have their steam operations out. Cass, GSMR, Tweetsy, the Rambler, Tennessee Valley Railroad, the Southeastern Railway Museum is also a good one. Favorite tourist railroads in the western United States? Don't really have an opinion on it yet since I haven't gone out to the west to see any tourist lines, but if I do go out there, I'll get back to you. Any other interest besides trains? Cars are pretty cool in their own way. I'm a big movie person, particularly Star Wars. And I also like videography and photography, just in general. What steam locomotive do I want to see running in 2022? I'm assuming you're asking what restoration project, and if so, Santa Fe 2926 doing his first proper mainline run, or if it ever does get restored, Chesapeake and Ohio 2716. What are my thoughts of the Charger locomotives? Not the biggest fan of the look, but I do like their paint schemes. Did I hear about the Amtrak train derailment in Montana? Yeah, I did. That was a nasty crash. Did I hear about 7312 returning to service? Yeah, I saw the Facebook post. Favorite railroad I've filmed or visited? That's pretty loose, but I'm going to go ahead and say Tweetsy for the ones that I have filmed many times, and ones that I don't get to film often, probably the Cass Scenic Railroad. Favorite steam locomotive I've seen operate? Tweetsy Railroad number 12. What type of camera do I use to film? I use the Canon Vixia HFG50 with a new microphone, which I'm going to test out probably this coming weekend. Railroads I would like to visit in the future. Probably the ones out in Colorado. Favorite Amtrak 50th anniversary unit? Probably number 100, the Midnight Blue scheme. It's a pretty sexy unit. What rail infrastructure project are you most excited about if you have one in mind? I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you on that. Do I plan on visiting the Wilmington Railroad Museum in Wilmington, North Carolina someday? Not exactly sure, but I would like to see their steam engine on display again. I did go when I was like really, really little, but then again, I didn't know what I would become. Which N&W steam locomotive do I prefer, 611 or 1218? Probably 611 because it's running, but in terms of the style, probably 1218. Favorite British steam locomotive? I mean, I don't know. Flying Scotsman. Either that or if the S160s count, that's probably what I would choose. Favorite video game? I always liked Lego Star Wars when growing up, but that's a tough one. Mostly anything Star Wars, but I am currently trying to sweat in Call of Duty right now, and it's not turning out too great. I'm just kidding. Favorite model I own? Probably the Y6. Any railroad I wish to visit this year? Definitely the ones out in Colorado, like I've said a few times before. But, there could be other ones. Favorite rolling stock? I don't know. Probably heavyweight passenger cars and coal hoppers. Enough said. BNSF or Union Pacific? Definitely Union Pacific. Canadian Pacific or Canadian National? Probably Canadian National. Best catch for 2021, probably the Union Pacific Big Boy or Nickel Plate Road 765. In terms of main lines, though, Canadian National 3115. If I traveled, what is one place I'd like to rail fan? Probably the narrow gauge out in Colorado, but there are lots of things. That question is pretty repetitive. B30-7 or B40-8? Probably the B40-8. Conrail or chassis system? Probably the chassis system. New York Central or the Pennsylvania Railroad? Pennsylvania Railroad. Favorite articulated steam locomotive? Probably Union Pacific 4014. Either that or if it was running in a W1218. Thoughts on the Pennsylvania T1 duplexes? I mean, rumor has it they were pretty unsuccessful, but if the T1 Trust does their job, we'll just have to see if they were proven right or wrong. Best train spotting experience? Oh, man. I've had so many in my past, it's hard to pick just one. The parade in 2020 was always one of my favorites. But in terms of Class 1s, Fostoria, you just cannot beat it. Southern 4501 or 630? Engine-wise, 630, whistle-wise, 4501. Have I heard about Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis 576's restoration and how they've gotten 50% of the restoration done? It's pretty old news now, but yes. What is my favorite whistle? Tweetsie Railroad number 12's Baldwin 3 chime. Why did I start a YouTube channel and what was my inspiration? My inspiration was probably whenever my brother started YouTube a while back, and he was inspired by gaming YouTubers. But that was a long time ago. How did my love for trains start? It all started when I was very young, whenever I went to Tweetsie a few times, but then I kind of took a break from it, but then I visited Tweetsie again in 2013, and that lit the fire. Do I ever want to work for a railroad/scenic railroad? I mean, definitely. What's my top 10 rail fanning places? What got me started in trains? Ever since I was a kid, and after a brief visit to Tweetsie in 2013, that lit my fire for trains once again. What is my favorite railroad and why? Tweetsie, because it's always been is the closest one to me, and also it has my favorite steam locomotive, and I know a lot of people there. But in terms of ones I don't visit often, Cass, because, I mean, you gotta love the Shays, and also, it's absolutely beautiful up there. Did I ever expect my channel to have the success it is now? Honestly, no. At first, it was looking like I was going to stay at a rough level of gaining about 700 subscribers a year, but then my Strasburg Thomas video blew up, and that's when my channel really started to grow. So I guess a lot of popular YouTubers have to thank Thomas for a lot of their success. Do I go to the North Carolina Transportation Museum for Polar Express? I didn't go last year, and honestly, there's really nothing for me for Polar, so I just don't go to the museum for the Polar Express. If I visit a Polar Express, it would probably be the Great Smoky Mountains Railroad. What's my favorite caboose? I really don't know, man. They're all the same to me except for color. What's my second favorite train? Nickel Plate Road 765. What's my reaction when 9 wasn't operating when I went to Denton in 2019? That is a long story. If I were to answer it right now, it would be a nuclear bomb. What's my favorite pizza? I'm assuming you're meaning pizza. If you're talking pizza chains, probably either Papa John's or Pizza Hut. What's my favorite train movie? Probably Unstoppable. What's my favorite animated movie? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm more of a live action fan myself. What's my favorite 484 Norfolk and Western 611? What is my favorite Thomas character? I mean, I don't really know. I mean, either Thomas himself or Henry. I don't know. And I also asked some people on my Instagram page some questions. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram at Steven Sane Railfan Prod, you can do that. And anyway, here are the questions they asked. Why do I mainly film and photograph steam? I've always found steam to be a more interesting topic, and also I just like steam, man. I just like it better. I mean, you gotta love it, man. You know, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the overall look. It's just more romantic to me than a diesel. Favorite heritage unit and favorite video. Favorite heritage unit, I really don't know. Pretty much all of NS and Union Pacific are good. And favorite video, probably the Cass Scenic Railroad Parade of Steam. That was a good video. Favorite locomotive, Tweetsy Railroad number 12. Anyway, that is the Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry if I sounded pretty dead in some points. I've been really tired, and honestly, whenever I put out the end of the year schedule, I said sometime in January for the Q&A, because I had a lot going on. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.